Aromatherapy principles. So what is aromatherapy? Well, the clue is in the name. It's therapy using the aromatic parts of plants, i.e. the essential oils. And there's different ways that you can apply essential oils. I'm not going to talk too much detail about aromatherapy. I just want you to learn in this lesson the therapeutic properties of the essential oils, but let's get going for now and let's look at some basic principles of aromatherapy. I love this quote. Look in the perfumes of flowers and of nature for peace of mind and joy of life. Because yes, perfumes in flowers and their aromas give so much more than just an aroma. It can give you peace of mind and really do bring joy. But what are essential oils in aromatherapy? Essential oils are the products of life. They are produced by the defense mechanisms of the plant, and they're created in the glands, and in nature they are used for various reasons. And although they play an important role in the plant's health, they're essentially a waste product like urine, and they're part of the secondary metabolism of the plant. And I hear a lot of these people that work for these multi-level marketing companies talk about essential oils and they're the essence and the absolute essence of life, and they're not. It's the secondary metabolism of the plant. It's just a very good marketing term that they like to use. We'll be talking about essential oils a little bit later, a little bit more in depth, and I'll be telling you something about these multi-level marketing companies and the nonsense that they regurgitate sometimes. That's why it's really important to learn aromatherapy from people that actually understand it and people that have the right experience and not just trying to sell you their products. So what is the main action of an essential oil? What do you think the main action of an essential oil is? It's strengthening organ functions and defense mechanisms. They do not do the job for the body. They help the body do its job. So if you look at different systems of the body, the circulatory system, the digestive system, the nervous system, for instance, if you look at the muscular system even, essential oils will help support these natural systems of the body that do a great job on their own. It's just that sometimes they might become weakened and they need a little bit of help and they need some stimulation and somebody to get behind them and motivate them and, you know, come on, you can do this kind of thing. And that's really essentially what essential oils do. They help the body perform to its absolute peak. And essential oils are very clever little tiny oils. They really are very, very clever in that they intrinsically know what your body needs. So if your body needs to relax, for instance, they'll know it. And they'll help restore harmony and balance to your body. If you need stimulating and energizing and waking up, when you apply these oils, they know it. They know what your body needs and they help your body to restore harmony and balance. They are absolutely incredible oils. And I love this quote that I read somewhere. If you believe in aromatherapy, it works. If you don't believe in aromatherapy, it still works. Aromatherapy, when you apply it to the skin, diluted of course, never neat. When you apply it to the skin, it breaks down into tiny molecules and gets into your bloodstream and helps your body then harmonize and strengthen and supports it and supports the systems and the organ functions of your body. So there are miraculous little things. Oils, yes, and a lot of people think, you know, a bit of hoo-ha, oh, it's an essential oil, you put it on your skin, how can it get into your bloodstream? HRT patches, anyone? Nicotine patches? You put that on your skin, people believe in that. Well, it's the same principle. Because the molecules are so tiny, they get into your bloodstream. And that's how they get in there. And that's why a lot of molecules that you put on there are too large. So if you're talking about carrier oils, let's say almond oil, coconut oil, of course, very famous, had a lot of press in the recent years, coconut oil and people using it. But it doesn't penetrate the skin. It stays on the surface because the molecules are just simply too big to penetrate the epidermis. We'll be talking about basic skin science in one of the next lessons. Essential oils perform similar functions in people as they do in plants. This is another really, really interesting thing to note. So let's have a look. Action in plants attracting pollinators. Of course, we've talked about white flowers attracting pollinators, and that's what they do. But let's have a look at the same action in humans. Attracting mates, aphrodisiacs, ylang ylang and jasmine, typical traditional aphrodisiac oils. Another action in plants, healing of the plant's wounds. This is frankincense coming from the immune system, and it's oozing to try and protect the plant because we have to tap the bark of the tree to get the resin out, and it's producing frankincense to protect these wounds. It's quite sad when you think about it, really, isn't it? When you look at oud as well. Oud is the production of oil because the argwood tree is infected with a fungus. So that's the product of oud. The product of this tree having a fungus, it produces oud to protect itself. And then people take it and make perfumes with it. It makes me feel quite sad when I think about it like that, but that's the truth. But then we look at actions in humans. Promotes healing. So it doesn't miraculously heal your body. Your body has a great healing process all by itself. But to help stimulate this healing process, to help stimulate cell renewal, and to help promote healing, essential oils will help you do this and help you to heal faster. So it's supporting and speeding up this healing process of your body. I'm going to show you a very interesting, not so pretty picture now. This is my husband's neck. In 2017, he had 2 discs removed from his neck, and they go in at the front here to remove them. And it was quite a big operation, and he was left with this nasty scar. This photograph was taken about 10 days after the operation, when we could start actually treating it. And I made him an amazing blend with just 2 essential oils. And 1 month later, this was the result. Exactly 1 month later, and you can barely see it. I mean, he's got lines on his neck anyway, which are the signs of aging, and it pretty much fits in with that, apart from a little bit of redness there. And now, 2 years later, you cannot see that scar at all. So that is the power of essential oils, and it's brilliant when you can see it. You know, they help also with the psyche, but when you can actually physically see the benefits of an essential oil like this, it really does turn you, if you are a non-believer of aromatherapy, as my husband was before I put this oil on his neck, and now he wholeheartedly believes in everything that I create, which is amazing. But let's have a look at some other actions in plants that essential oils have. They increase the immunity of the plant. They repel harmful insects. They repel plants that may crowd their space. They kill harmful bacteria. They kill fungal and viral infections on the plant. And actions in humans: regulating hormones, balancing, reducing inflammation, perhaps of the nervous system or of the muscular system, or on the skin, killing bacteria, fungus and viruses and airborne bacteria as well, repelling bugs and harmful insects, stimulates the immune system, aids circulation, absolutely. Certain oils can speed up the circulation and supports the digestive system. So can you see how essential oils have similar actions in plants as what they do in humans? It's really fascinating. So let's have a look at some essential oil properties, some typical relaxing sedative oils. Lavender and chamomile. Cinnamon might be quite surprising to you, but yes, dentists' waiting rooms sometimes burn cinnamon because it reduces anxiety and promotes calmness. Lang Lang is a notorious oil for relaxing but reduces the blood pressure quite significantly. So if you have low blood pressure, do be careful when working with Lang Lang. Bergamot, second to lavender for its relaxing properties. Sweet orange, patchouli, sandalwood, marjoram, melissa, valerian root, and vetiver. So very relaxing sedative oils, these typical oils are. So if you're wanting to look for a fragrance, for a body mist or a skincare product, and you wanted something relaxing or sedative, then you're going to be looking at these oils. Even just talking about them is making me feel very relaxed. You can probably tell by the tone of my voice. But if you look at melissa and valerian root, there is a herbal sleep remedy called Song a Night, and it contains melissa and valerian root, and it's absolutely amazing. And valerian root can be used in perfumery. It's a wonderful, wonderful blend to make, especially for insomnia. I make a great insomnia blend using valerian root. It doesn't smell that great, and I tend to put quite a lot of valerian in it because it's so powerful, but you can use it in smaller amounts than what I do because it doesn't smell that amazing. And that's when your perfumer's nose is going to come into play. If you're looking for something relaxing and sedative and you want to make a beautiful blend, don't just turn to chamomile and valerian root and put those two in a blend, because it's going to smell not very nice, you know. So that's where your perfumer's nose and your fragrance triangle is going to come into play. Let's have a look at now at energizing and stimulating oils. These are all typically energizing oils. Pepper, rosemary, grapefruit, nutmeg, mint, lemon, juniper and lemongrass. Grapefruit is a great oil for stimulating the circulatory system, and it's a great oil actually for cellulite. Let's have a look at now some balancing and regulating oils. Geranium, it's a notorious balancing oil on the psyche and on the skin, as is frankincense and rose, clary sage, bergamot, rosewood and patchouli. And you can see that patchouli, geranium and clary sage, they all come from, what do they come from? The leaves. So that's where they're also balancing and regulating, and rose as well, and also neroli. And then we'll look at aphrodisiac and euphoric oils, clary sage, ylang ylang, rose, jasmine, patchouli, and grapefruit. Yes, it might be quite surprising, but yeah, aphrodisiac, grapefruit. So there's a great note to take if you want a top note for an aphrodisiac blend. Then you can use grapefruit. I've put vanilla in here. It's not traditionally used in aromatherapy, but it adds a sexiness to a blend. And that's why I've put it here, because if you wanted to create this euphoric aphrodisiac oil, then vanilla is a great base note to use to add that bit of sexiness, just to make it feel more aphrodisiac. If we look at clary sage, I make a perfume you might be aware of called Drama Queen, and I have clary sage in it. I created this for myself years ago for my very severe PMS mood swings that I used to have. I now call it Drama Queen, but it used to be called Euphoria because of the clary sage. And clary sage is notorious. When you first start working with it, it can induce feelings of euphoria. And they say that if you combine this with having a glass of wine perhaps, or any kind of alcohol, and working with clary sage, or even applying it onto your skin and then having essential oils and having a glass of wine, or any alcohol, actually further induces this feeling of euphoria. So I thought I would check out this theory many years ago when I started creating my products and when I started creating a blend for Drama Queen. And lo and behold, yeah, the theory is true. And I was giddy and I was alone in my room and I could not stop laughing. I was absolutely hysterical, and I must have looked like such a nutter, really did, because I was just laughing at nothing in particular, but yeah, this real feeling of euphoria. I don't recommend that you do it, but it was just a theory I wanted to test, and so you can just take my word for it. So those are typical euphoric and aphrodisiac oils. If you want more in-depth detail about aromatherapy, I go into a lot of detail about it and how to choose oils wisely based on some very interesting and very simple principles. You can enroll on that aromatherapy course, and being a student of the full course or just module 3, you will get 50% discount off this aromatherapy course. So let's talk about safety. There's safety in essential oils, and you need to be very aware of this as well. I'm going to give you a list of hazardous oils that you can look at too. That will be on the download, and this safety information is also in your handbook. But before you start working with essential oils, because when you work with them and you're creating neat blends, you need to be very careful. So let's have a look at some typical hazardous oils. Phototoxic. What does this mean, phototoxic? It means it sensitizes your skin to UVA and UVB rays, and predominantly they are citrus oils. So you need to be aware of when you're using citrus oils in a blend, and if it's going to be in a body oil or in a lotion. You might be creating a fragrance, for instance, for a suntan lotion, and the last thing you want to do is put citrus oils in there, because those people are going to have blisters all over their body. I had a student one time, and she put just a few drops of bergamot into a suntan lotion and then went sunbathing on the beach in Italy, and her whole body was covered in blisters. So do be careful. That's why you need to bear that in mind. If it's a leave-on product, be careful with citrus oils. Irritating oils and skin sensitizers. Typical ones are mint, eucalyptus, clove, cinnamon and pepper. So these oils will be okay if it's for a remedy that is perhaps just in a very localized area, perhaps on the pulse points or for something, or for burning in a room, or even for a room spray. But really, all over body oils and lotions, you really need to avoid these oils. If it's in a perfume, that's okay. But if it's something that, you're massaging it into the skin like you would with a lotion or oil, then you need to be really careful of mint. And you need to be careful with mint when it comes to children, because on infants, peppermint or spearmint can actually interrupt the breathing pattern of infants. So never use mint on children or infants. I would avoid it under all children under the age of 3. But these are oils, like I said, you can use them in burnings, but just be aware. And it might be something that you want to put, like you can put mint perhaps, for instance, in maybe a little bit of it into a shower gel, but then they tend not to. They tend to use menthol rather than mint. Remember, we talked about what menthol is in the earlier lesson. And then let's look at Lang Lang. Lang Lang reduces blood pressure. So if you have a client or you yourself suffer from low blood pressure, then Lang Lang is one to avoid, or use it in very small amounts. It's just something that you need to really be aware of. And then, of course, ketones. Ketones, oils with high amounts of ketones like thyme, sage and oregano really should be avoided at all costs, just don't use them. They're on the hazardous oil list. On the website you'll have a list of hazardous oils so you'll know which ones to avoid. You'll have other oils like helichrysum, or otherwise known as everlasting or immortelle, and that's quite low in ketones. They have ketones, but the amount is very low, so that therefore it makes it a safe oil, but oils that have high amounts of ketones are hazardous. So download your hazardous oil sheet there so that you can have a look at which ones to avoid. Keep away from your eyes. Don't put essential oils anywhere near your eyes or open wounds, and wear gloves when you work with them. Please, if you're using neat oils, always wear gloves. It's okay if you're using them diluted and experimenting at a 10% ratio, etc. But when you work with them, please wear gloves, and then wash your hands as well after you have actually applied them. So if you've applied something, let's say you've applied, I have a bad back and I'll put a blend that I make particularly for muscles and pain, and I rub it onto my back or perhaps my knees or any areas of injuries or even bruises. But then once I've done it, I'll always wash my hands, because I don't know what I'm going to do with my fingers. I might stick my finger in my mouth or in my eye, and that's really going to hurt. So you need to be really aware. Just because they come from a beautiful, pretty little plant doesn't mean that they're completely safe. There are hazards along with them, and you need to use them cautiously. Always, always, always dilute essential oils before you apply them to the body. Never use neat oils on the skin. They need to be diluted to a safe ratio. We'll talk about this more in the aromatherapy course if you do take it. But at the moment, what we're talking about in this course is making fragrances. You're not creating aromatherapy products. I'm not teaching you how to make body oils. I'm teaching you how to make a fragrance for it. So it might be that if you want to create products for yourself, then that's great. Then you will need to take the aromatherapy course. If you're just making a fragrance and you're going to make fragrances for clients that are making aromatherapy products or skincare products, then this will be enough. You'll just need to understand how to make fragrances for them. Then that will be their problem. You will make that blend, you will sell that blend to them, and then they will make their own product using that blend. So just bear in mind that in this module I'm not talking about how to make products apart from one feel-good fragrance. Exceptions to the rule of dilution is lavender and tea tree. So lavender and tea tree you can actually use neat. I always carry a bottle of lavender with me. I have it by the side of my bed. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll put a little bit on my pulse points, and I'll also inhale it to get me back to sleep again. And tea tree, I use that if I get any cuts or bites or spots. So those are the two oils that you actually can use neat, and great to have in your arsenal of essential oils. But if you do, and I'm going to give you this very quick ratio now because we're going to be making a feel-good fragrance, but if you wanted to see what the ratio is for carrier oils and essential oils, the rule of thumb, and it's so easy to remember, 1 drop of essential oil to 1 ml of carrier for body oil. So if you're going to be using coconut oil, for instance, you're going to be using 1 ml. You're going to be using 1 drop. 1 drop for 1 ml. So if you have 10 mils of an oil, how many drops will you use? 10. If you had 100 mils, how many drops would you use? 100. So it's so easy. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, 1 drop to 1 ml. And that's the same for body lotions as well. But when it comes to body mists, you can be a bit more liberal, because you're spraying it and it'll be going on your hair and your clothes and in the air. So you can be a lot more liberal because you're not massaging it into your body, and you can go up to 5 drops for every 1 ml of body mists. Keep essential oils away from children. Some oils smell like candy, like mint and orange and mandarin and lemon and lime. When you mix those together, they smell amazing, like lemon and lime lollipops. Please keep them away from children because they do smell great and they'll be very appealing to small children. Contraindications. You need to be aware of contraindications like pregnancy. So during the first trimester, so if you're making a blend for a client and she wants you to create a body oil or a blend for pregnancy, perhaps you might have a client that says, I'm making an oil for pregnant women for stretch marks. Well, you need to know that no oils can be used during the first trimester, and after that only gentle oils like lavender, sweet orange, mandarin and chamomile can be used. So if you're creating something for pregnant women, then you need to bear this in mind. These are the only oils that I would ever recommend be used during pregnancy, and in very small amounts. The ratio that I've just given you, 1 drop to 1 ml, half it. So if you have 10 mils instead of 10 drops, use 5 for pregnant women and for children as well. Other contraindications like low blood pressure, we talked just now about ylang-ylang, and epilepsy. Highly camphorous oils like eucalyptus, rosemary, even spike lavender and lavandin. These oils that are highly camphorous can actually induce epileptic fits, so you need to be really careful and be aware of any contraindications. And this is when you're doing it from client to client. If you're creating a fragrance for somebody else, then they need to be aware of it. But if you make a blend, perhaps, for instance, then you can perhaps tell your client about these oils that are quite highly camphorous, and then they need to be aware of those hazards with the oils. And if you need to be aware of it if you're making products for yourself. So these next oils are safe oils, but you need to use them with caution, with sun exposure. And it's the citrus fruits really. Orange isn't really on there, or mandarin. They don't seem to be very sensitizing. But they're maybe a little bit, but a lot less than these ones. Lemon, lime, grapefruit and bergamot is the most notorious skin sensitizing oil. And remember, you can get the BP free bergamot if you wanted to create a fragrance that goes all over the body. And really, if you're going to use a body lotion, then you can use these oils if it's for something like a body lotion or a body oil, but then recommend to the client that then they rub this over themselves in the night time so that it's not there in the morning. Then hopefully in the morning they'll shower and it will be washed off. But yeah, if you wanted to put bergamot in, then use the BP free bergamot. And that's it. That's the end of this lesson. So I'll see you on the other side.